This is Justin with Gig Biz. We're here with Bronte from Afro Omega. I always see you guys over at Urban Lounge.
Yeah, for sure. That's like, obviously, the Urban Lounge, you know, they're on top of their game. So they book a lot of local bands, but they book just as many like quality headliners. So if you get your name in a runner with a quality headliner, then that's always going to be beneficial. And it's close to University of Utah, and it's sustained and it's built and it's gotten bigger and better. And anytime that happens, you just want to like stick around. And then bars are like, it's your place, it's my place of employment at the end of the day.
For sure.
So I just got to pick them wisely.
That's
and
cool.
Make sure that.
Well, that and the Woodshed, we have a good relationship with those guys over there, and we always see you guys.
You know, and
every so often.
that's one of those places where you like, you go help. That's like a project reality or like a volunteer efforts Woodshed style. You just play there because you can go outside and have a good patio, but it's not a very, you know, it's one of those places. I love to play there, but it's not gonna like pay my bills.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
we have a good relationship with Ian Nelson over there.
Fully, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I play there, and it's close to my house, so like it's one of those things. But yeah.
So how long have you guys been playing Uncle Uncanny for?
This is my first time with Afro Omega, but I played keyboards for a guy named James Shook in 2000, I want to say 6 or 7, when it was at a different location in the middle of nowhere. But it was epic. I had the funnest time of my life. Like, literally, I stayed up all night and woke up and I had no idea what was going on. But like, I was like, I want to play that festival again. And it took us years, like through like scheduling and weird stuff, and then here we are now. So,
well, the reggae, there's a lot of people I know that were coming down for all of the reggae acts and all
exactly.
of that. So,
Utah is a reggae hotspot. Like all the reggae bands come here. Everyone plays here.
Yeah.
I was in Eugene, Oregon, and like Oregon's even bigger reggae scene. But like the Marleys didn't play there all the time. Like it's just, and it's on the 5. You can get there. You know what I mean? It's just and I realized Salt Lake City is like, they know what they're doing. And like I talked to, you know, some labels in New York, and they were like, yo, Colorado and Utah are huge for record sales for reggae albums. And they're like, we don't know what it is. And I'm like, well, you need to come out here because like, there's like all these Rasta kids running around. They don't even know it. They're like at one with nature, have complete respect for the environment. They love camping and being outdoors, and like, they get it, you know, and that's part of like the reggae vibes, 100%.
It's always interesting to me. We got to interview Revolution a little while ago, and having them sell out at the Depot and Oration and all of these bands that Dirty Heads, you know, all of these guys that come through, every time they come through, they're selling out whatever they're playing.
Right.
And it's interesting to see how big of a reggae scene there really is.
What I want to figure out is how a local band can sell out the Depot. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I feel like there's really quality. Like I was in LA last summer, and you know, for a little while, and I think that there's some really good reggae musicians and bands, songs, like Natural Roots. They're signed with a major reggae record label, you know, and Afro Omega, we are in the works with signing with VP Records, which is a big reggae record label, which is insane to think that out of Utah, 2 reggae bands could find a major label.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, once again, who you're pairing with. I mean, if you were to go open for, say, Revolution and Modest Yahoo that's coming up, or for Oration or whatever it is, you're right, a lot of those bands don't know that they're local, because the reggae scene in Utah is so good that you don't know that they're actually a local band.
That's the good point.
So you look at it and you're like, oh, this is just a national opener that just happens to be traveling with this band.
Well, my drummer that I'm playing with now, before he was in the band, he had that same thing. He was like, I had no idea Afro Omega was from Utah.
I
thought
had no
you guys
idea
were
you
from
guys were from Utah.
I think guys from like San Diego or something. I didn't know. They could just play there all the time. I can tell you why. I could tell you why. Because I was out in Oregon and California once again, and musicians there aren't just musicians. They're fans. And they have like a festival schedule that they stick to. So like you'll try to book certain times in July, certain musicians are like, no, I'm going to Oregon Country Fair. You know, and in Utah, we don't have that. So like people just sit around, going to their job, eating at a cool restaurant, and playing their instrument. And they don't have like all these cool things to do all the time, so they just create it. It seems like people here just hone in and like have more time like to do stuff, whereas in other places people are so scattered. There's just so much stuff going on, whereas in Utah there's not. And there's enough, but it's not like a
It's music. It's all music oriented.
And it seems like people hone, I don't know, it's really competitive here too.
Yeah.
I think that might be like the Mormon vibes. They brought the competitive
They all
stuff.
play the piano and been
But
singing
like
since
people
birth.
really like people here have something to prove, I think too. You know what I mean? Like they really do. Like
The good music can come out of Utah.
Yeah,
Where
fully,
all of
yeah.
it's coming out of Denver, so they got something to prove.
well, and then like there's this whole, the whole thing of being a musician and an artiste is to be this open-minded individual. But then you throw yourself out there in this open-minded world, and people are like, "F you, you're from Utah." Which is like the most closed-minded thing I've ever seen in my life. And I used to deal with that with reggae. I'm like, that's why I like reggae. Because you're talking about free your mind and don't judge people. And everybody's everybody. And I tell you I'm from Utah and I'm in a reggae band. And you're telling me, yeah, right. You know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense to me. Like, it's like, that's the number one thing I went to New York. It was like, Utah, sure. And I'm like, you're making New Yorkers look bad. You know what I mean? Like everybody in Williamsburg is from Salt Lake. And I went out with some friends who were from Salt Lake. And there was other people showed up. And I thought I was going to meet all these. So where are you from? Oh, I'm from Sandy, Utah. I'm like, where are you from? Salt Lake. I'm like, where are you from? Everyone here is from Utah.
Yeah. And so
That's
we
another
like
thing
them a
that
lot.
Utah has. Like the Polynesians, they could sell out. They get like a couple thousand people at their events. That's insane.
Well, I mean,
Like,
you look at-
you could, no local rock promoter could do that with
Yeah.
like, only big time promotion can do that. They're killing it. They're making reggae accessible to everyone, not just by the sound, but by just the lifestyle, and that's super important. That's why I liked reggae, was the lifestyle. I didn't like combing my hair. I didn't like shaving my face. I liked everything about the reggae world I entered, which is like Rasta Reggae, Roots Reggae Fest, Cali Reggae, LA, UCLA Reggae Fest. It was like my first big festival I would go to in the 90s, and it was free back then, so it was just...
So how did you get together with the guys you're playing with now? I mean, how do you
wow.
find like-minded reggae players in Utah to
There's so
kind of form?
many right now in Salt Lake. It's insane. Like when I started a reggae band in 2002, there were 3 reggae bands that I knew of, and I moved back from Oregon, and there's like 30 plus reggae bands, and they all have a CD. They all have keyboard players and horn sections, and I'm like, where's all this? And I'm like in Utah forever struggling just to like, keep people and come back, and there's just tons of musicians, and they're all like turning 21, 22, 23, and the next generation is filling in, and
sure.
I kind of tapped into that.
So what about Afro Omega?
Same thing, yeah, a lot of our members, moved on to different things in their life, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like the John Brown's Body, same thing. Like I've seen them, first time we played with them was 2002, and the only dude that's still in that band from then is their drummer and their singer. The rest of them are all, so it's
Since
been that way.
1998, I mean, that's a lot of...
They were around since 1989 as another band. That's crazy.
See, and I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just
talk
knew
to them
they
about
were
that.
running-
So anyways, Afro Omega now is the same thing. Like I just been using a bunch of different musicians, just kind of like running it. We don't really have a band, we just have a concept of just vibes. 100% vibes. People ask you, what kind of reggae? Just vibes. We just want people to have fun, and like we're trying to like beat you down with a message or...
So what's next for you guys? Are you guys recording an album? Or you guys?
Yeah, we're
working
recording
on
an album for a VP Records, like VPAL distribution, and it's like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me musically. So we're just in the middle of that, or near the tail end of that, and then turn the record over, and this winter, and maybe wait till 2014, so we get a whole year out of the album, and then see what
go tour
happens.
on it?
Yeah, and in Mexico City, November 28th on Thanksgiving, there's a big reggae festival. I don't know the exact name, but my guitar player who I recorded the album with, he lives in Mexico City. He used to come back and forth on visa. So 6 months he'll come play, and he goes back home for 6 months. Well, he's home right now, and so he booked a festival and all these shows. So I'm gonna go out there and play with all these Mexican musicians that I've never met.
I've never heard of Mexican reggae.
Oh, dude,
but I
it's
mean, it's only a
huge.
step and a half away from their
Dude, it's huge.
big band and
It's
all
like,
that. So yeah,
I can't wait. I'm
That's-
so excited.
that's awesome.
Like, it's like unreal. Like, again, it's huge out there. It's like on MTV.
Yeah,
They put reggae on there in Mexican MTV.
that's awesome. So is there anything else you would like to say, or anyone else you would like to thank?
Thank you, man, just for coming in and letting me chat for a minute, and the fans, people who support Afro Omega in these festivals, and the promoters who give the artists a platform to express themselves and struggle financially to do so. Like, not all these festivals are like killing it. They're not all Coachella, and so they're putting a big risk and like getting us artists up here, and making sure that we're taken care of, and I'd like to thank those guys for sure, because without that platform, we would be, at a bar, and that gets old after a while, having the fresh air and kids.
That's what Morehouse was just saying.
Yeah, it's just,
Barfly.
yeah, that's just not what I'm in it for at all.
Once again, this is Bronte with Afro Omega here on GigViz. Thank you so much, man. We really do appreciate it.